Hello, my name's Bond, Richard Bond, and this is Curmudgeonly Yours, a show on Society Bites Radio, part of the Radio Ear Network family, supplying social interaction for the mind and soul. The introductory and concluding music to this show is La Polonaise by Wieniawski, played by Max Bond. I am your host and curmudgeon, where everything is what it seems. Nothing is what it seems. And what is not said is often of most interest. Today I will be speaking with Professor Robert Vodnoy, the director of the Chamber Orchestra of Sarasota. Hi, Robert.
Hi, Richard. Nice to talk with you again.
You too. Well, it's good to have you back on Curmudgeonly Yours on Society Bites Radio. Today, we will be talking specifically about the Chamber Orchestra of Sarasota's upcoming concert on Tuesday, February the 11th, 2020, which you call British Night. I like that name. At the Church of the Redeemer in downtown Sarasota, Florida. Professor Robert Vodnoy is the music director of the Chamber Orchestra of Sarasota, which he founded in 2017. During the summer season, he is the conductor and music director of the Whiting Park Festival Orchestra, which performs a huge array of popular and classical favorites on the Chicago Lakefront. Professor Vodnoy has guest conducted numerous orchestras throughout the world, including the Symphony Orchestra of the Zhejiang Song and Dance Theater in China, the Orchestra Sinfonica di San Remo in Italy, the Czech National Symphony, and the Seoul Philharmonic, just to name a little of what he's done. Robert Vodnoy was the long-tenured music director of the Southwest Michigan Symphony and the Northwest Indiana Symphony. He also holds a Bachelor in Music, summa cum laude, and a Master in Music in Composition from the University of Hartford, Connecticut. The musicians of the Chamber Orchestra of Sarasota are professional musicians who play in some of the area's finest ensembles. The Church of the Redeemer, with its soaring architecture and resounding acoustics, is the perfect performance space for the Chamber Orchestra. Well, Robert, next year, 2020, will be the 45th anniversary of your professional conducting career. Tell me, how did you start and what have been some of the highlights?
Well, it's going to be an exciting anniversary for me, Richard.
Yeah.
So in between 1972 and 1975, I was working on a doctorate, actually, in conducting, which at Indiana University. And
Okay.
toward the end of that period, I began auditioning for orchestras, and I was delighted and happy to be hired out of a field of 10 guest conductors by the Southwest Michigan Symphony, which is in St. Joseph and Benton Harbor, Michigan. This is so long ago, actually, that the orchestra's name wasn't the Southwest Michigan Symphony then. It was called the Twin Cities Symphony.
Okay.
And during the first decade of my tenure there, we changed the name. So that's how I started. I auditioned with them actually in February of 1975. So it's practically my 45th anniversary to the month anyway. I don't remember, to tell you the truth, what the date of that concert was.
Well, don't have to worry about that. 45 is pretty good number.
That's it. Anyway, and then the following year, I was hired by the Northwest Indiana Symphony. So for the next 20 years, I was the music director of both of those orchestras.
Okay. Well, I understand that you and your wife, Kayla, have become Florida residents now. You're no longer up there all the time. Where are you living here, and how did this come about?
So we're living here in Venice, and we really love it here. It came about because back in 2015, my wife and I came down and did some couch surfing, actually staying with my sister, Lori Vodnoy, right, who I know you know quite
Sure.
well. And that was kind of our first reconnection with Florida after a very long time. And it was when we were here that Lori said, you and I should start a chamber orchestra here in Sarasota.
Yeah.
And I must admit that I thought she was a little optimistic. But she said there the music scene in Sarasota is so rich, and people are looking for all kinds of musical performances. There's room for us if we're good.
Well, sure. I mean, everybody's coming down from Chicago, Canada, New York, all the, and they're down here, so it's great.
Yeah. So we took a run at it, and we did the first concert was in December of 2017, and then we did the next year. We also did just one concert in December of 2018, and then we had enough good success that we thought we should try to do 2 concerts this year. So this is the first time that we will be doing a concert in February.
Well, I mean, the last concert was last week. It was wonderful. I was there, and it was packed. The church was packed, and I'm sure that the next one will be packed too. So the last concert was December 10th, 2019. And I guess, could you tell us a little about the next program, I guess?
Oh, sure. Well, the idea of an English night, or a British night actually, came actually, I was inspired by the Sarasota studio, the DeMitt car showroom right in downtown Sarasota, and they're one of our principal advertisers. So I was just in the showroom talking to the guys, and I said, wow, you've got so many beautiful British cars here. It's almost like a symphony of cars. I should do a British night. So that's where it started. And then I began looking at repertoire, and just got so excited about the idea of it, especially the idea of doing music associated with Shakespeare plays. So then of course that opens it up too, because there's music for Shakespeare plays or inspired by Shakespeare plays, which isn't necessarily by British composers. So it let me open the field up a little bit.
Okay.
So the first half were 3 concert pieces. The first piece, and we can go back around and talk about them in detail, but just to give a
I sort of jumped ahead. I'm sorry, but then we'll go and talk about what just happened last week. But go ahead on this.
Okay, so the we can double back to that. But so the first half is we're going to play 3 movements from a string suite by Sir Hubert Parry, and then that'll be followed by a delightful concerto by Gustav Holst for flute, oboe, and strings, featuring 2 of our regular players, Carmen Bannon and Nicholas Arbolino on the flute and oboe. Okay. And then the first half will conclude with a serenade for strings by Edward Elgar.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Thank you. And the second half, we're going to be collaborating with Urbanite Theater. So we haven't worked out all of the actors yet at the time that we're taping this. I think by the time it broadcasts, I might know. But we're going to use actors from the Urbanite Theater, directed by Brendan Reagan, to do, let's say, iconic speeches from each of the plays. Okay. So we're going to begin with a few movements from Henry Purcell's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to do 2 pieces by William Walton from his film music to Henry V, followed by an elegy by by Tchaikovsky from his incidental music to Hamlet, and then conclude with a really brilliant overture by George Friedrich Handel on Julius Caesar.
Oh, wonderful. How about Twelfth Night? I remember when I was doing the play, as an actor, was always talking about music in that play.
Oh, yes. If music be the food of love, play on.
Exactly, yeah.
Actually, I've done many plays, many concerts based on a Shakespeare theme, like Shakespeare at the Symphony kind of programs. Maybe the most memorable and exciting for me was one I did with Brian Bedford.
Okay.
The great Shakespearean actor and one of the main actors at the Stratford Festival in Canada.
Okay.
The idea of being able to bring some flavor of the theater into a symphony concert, I've always found to be just so exciting for the orchestra and the audience too.
Yeah, wonderful. You're talking about Stratford, Ontario, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I sort of jumped ahead there. So let's look back at this concert you had last week, which, like I said, was a packed Church of the Redeemer in downtown Sarasota. Could you tell us about that program and what you did?
Sure. And I want to say, speaking of the Church of the Redeemer, that it's a really wonderful place to play. The acoustics are marvelous, and just the feel of the room lends itself to the character of a chamber orchestra.
Yeah, it does.
It seats a couple hundred people, maybe a little more if you pack them in. So the performers are always close to the audience, and it just feels great. So the one we did on December 10th was a holiday-themed concert.
Okay.
I called the program Merry Merry Sarasota.
Right, like Merry Christmas, yeah.
Right, and I kind of like the way it rolls off your tongue with all those R's and A's in there.
It does.
We opened with a Christmas Suite by Niels Gade, the great Danish composer. It was a 19th century piece for strings, which Gade, they were originally written for, they were originally children's piano pieces.
Okay.
So we opened with that suite, and then the last movement is a little prayer to the infant Jesus, which in the suite actually is just for strings, but it was originally a song. So I added Johanna Fincher, soprano, to sing the last movement with us.
But she was wonderful.
Oh, she's just great. And then we flowed directly into a Christmas cantata by Alessandro Scarlatti.
Okay.
That's a piece that was originally intended to be played in the great Roman houses of the early 17th century.
Right.
The text was actually written by a cardinal. So it's a charming nativity cantata. And then we did Wagner's Siegfried Idol, and people may wonder why we were doing Siegfried Idol on a holiday concert. And of course, the answer is, first and foremost, I really love the piece. It's just gorgeous, but it had a particular affinity to this season because Wagner wrote it as a birthday present / Christmas present to his wife Cosima Liszt Wagner.
Right.
And so she woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning to the strains of this piece being played in their home in Triebschen.
Yeah, it had a certain sense of gravity to it, didn't it?
Yeah, it does. But the thing I most like about it is it's Wagner at his most gentle and intimate. So as much as I love all the crashing, heroic music of the operas, there's something just direct and charming and sweet about this piece.
That's true.
The orchestra played it really, really beautifully. I've conducted the piece many times, but I don't think any better than that.
Yeah, no, it really went very well. Now, I understand that you and especially since I heard you weren't able to rehearse much with the orchestra prior to that.
That's right. We actually get together the